In 170 AD, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius faced a grueling and protracted war against the Germanic tribes. His legions, outnumbered and plagued by disease, struggled in harsh conditions. Yet from this dire situation emerged one of his most famous quotes: "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." With steadfast Stoic resilience, Aurelius rallied his troops, and they eventually prevailed against the odds. This anecdote powerfully demonstrates how embracing Stoic philosophy can help us withstand and overcome even the toughest adversities through perspective shifts. At its core, Stoicism teaches that we cannot control external events, only our judgments and reactions to them. By focusing our efforts inward on what we can control, our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we cultivate inner strength, self-mastery, and the ability to meet any challenge with equanimity. Ancient Stoics like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius developed a timeless framework for leading a life of virtue, resilience, and freedom by separating what's within our control from what isn't. In this exploration, we'll delve into vital Stoic principles and strategies that empower us to stay strong no matter the challenging situations in life. Through inspiring stories from famous exemplars in everyday life, we'll learn how to reframe our perspective on adversity, build our inner grit and self-control, accept what we can and cannot control, find meaning and growth in difficulties, and ultimately live as wiser, more resilient versions of ourselves. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Marcus Aurelius. The first and most fundamental Stoic lesson for staying strong lies in how we view and respond to difficulties. Our perspective shapes our entire experience of adversity. Consider the example of Muhammad Ali, one of the most iconic and resilient figures in sports history. In 1967, at the peak of his boxing career, he was drafted into the Vietnam War. Ali refused to serve as a conscientious objector based on his beliefs and opposition to the war. This decision resulted in him being stripped of his heavyweight title and boxing license. He was even sentenced to 5 years in prison, which was later overturned. To the outside world, Ali's situation seemed bleak. His fame, career, and future were in jeopardy. However, Ali responded with a quintessentially Stoic mindset. He said, "I'm not going to be what you want me to be." He reframed his perspective. This was a challenge to his principles that he wholeheartedly embraced. As his legal battles raged for nearly 4 years, Ali spent his prime athletic years outside the ring. Most would have seen this as a devastating setback. Yet with Stoic resolve, Ali used this time to spread his message, inspiring millions worldwide with courage and conviction. His apparent tragedy was transformed into a platform for his greater purpose. This ability to reframe our viewpoint is immensely powerful. When faced with adversity, challenges like failure, betrayal, or bullying become much more manageable when we shift our perspective. Stoics aren't discouraged by external circumstances, but forge meaning from them. As Marcus Aurelius taught, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have and to cheerfully put to good use what they do. Epictetus. At the core of Stoic strength lies inner fortitude, cultivating our reason, self-discipline, and virtue to remain unshaken by external forces. This governing principle is personified by the iconic boxer Mike Tyson's life journey. In his prime, Tyson was the most feared man in the ring, demolishing opponents ferociously. Yet outside the ring, his life spun out of control into a vortex of excesses: drugs, alcohol, misguided attachments, and volatility. Tyson lost his way by his admission, becoming enslaved by his undisciplined desires and impulses. Stoic philosophy helped Tyson rebuild himself from the ashes of his fallen empire. He said, "Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it." Tyson embraced the Stoics' relentless pursuit of self-mastery over our judgments, emotions, and will. "Make the mind, toughen it up" became Tyson's mantra, grounded in Stoicism's core ethos of using our reason to rule over destructive externals. This mental fortification enabled him to shed toxic attachments, regain his discipline, and re-emerge as a more grounded, purposeful individual. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. Epictetus. The Stoics recognized that true freedom and resilience arise from within. No external circumstance can overpower you without your judgment's consent. By mastering our mind's interpretations and desires, we avoid being enslaved by misfortunes or temptations that drain our resolve. In modern life's trenches, we face innumerable battles that test our fortitude: insecurity from societal pressures, addictions to fleeting indulgences, and grief from profound loss. Lasting strength surfaces by continually fortifying our inner citadel of reason and integrity. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. This journey begins with diligently reflecting on the virtues and principles you wish to embody: prudence, justice, courage, and temperance. Then remaining unwaveringly committed to living by that code, regardless of allurements or adversities. With a Stoic spirit of self-discipline and determination, we transform philosophical theory into tangible fortitude. Through the ages, those who weathered the roughest storms were rendered unbreakable, not by circumstances, but by their unconquerable mind. Developing our inner fortress in the Stoic tradition also allows us to emerge victorious in our struggles for resilience. The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Epictetus. A profound key to Stoic resilience is distinguishing what is within our control from what is not, and aligning our efforts accordingly. By consciously accepting the limits of our influence, we preserve our energy and calmness when facing life's inevitable adversities. One of history's most potent exemplars of this principle was Emperor Marcus Aurelius himself. As a Stoic philosopher, he navigated personal tragedies, political turmoil, and military conflicts that constantly tested his resolve. Yet his writings in Meditations remind us to make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Aurelius couldn't control the untimely deaths of 7 children and his wife. He couldn't control uprisings, plagues, or hostile forces threatening Rome. However, mastering his perspective and reactions, elements within his control, he ruled with grace and wisdom during incredibly turbulent times. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Marcus Aurelius. In our modern experience, much of our suffering arises from attempting to control things beyond our reach. Corporate battles that spiral into obsessive grudges. Toxic workplaces we remain in begrudgingly, social media ridicule that hijacks our self-worth. Applying the Stoic dichotomy of control, we recognize that others' behavior, circumstances at our jobs, and public opinions, none of these are ours to decide. What we can control is our intentional response. Will we act with integrity, courage, and kindness, or indulge in unproductive lamentations? We have 2 lives, and the second begins when we realize we only have one. Confucius. This quote aligns with Stoic thought. When our reputations are publicly impugned, we cannot halt the flow of misinformation. However, we can maintain our virtuous character and conscientiously share the truth. If we lose our jobs unexpectedly, we cannot dictate the actions of others. Only our skillful adaptation can. A profound internal liberation occurs by separating external events from our mind's judgments about them. We cease battling against external forces, instead channeling our energy toward our thoughts and intentional actions, the sole components under our control. Practicing this discernment regularly ensures that our internal locus of control remains fortified against external storms. The wisdom of the Stoics teaches us that by focusing on what we can influence and serenely accepting what we cannot, we attain an unshakable resilience to navigate life's seas. The sailor cannot change the winds, but by skillfully adjusting the sails, they reach their destination nonetheless. In our journey, The Stoic distinction between what we can and cannot control becomes our compass to inner strength. Don't let your reflection on the whole sweep of life crush you. Don't fill your mind with all the bad things that might happen. Stay focused on the present situation and ask yourself why it's so unbearable and can't be survived. Marcus Aurelius. The Stoics counseled us to transform difficulties into opportunities for growth and meaning. This principle is especially poignant in times of suffering. Marcus Aurelius expressed gratitude for the negative influences in his life because they allowed him to develop perseverance, humility, and self-discipline. He saw life's challenges as a forge for personal transformation and wisdom. Few modern examples resonate with this principle more than Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor. Frankl spent years in Nazi concentration camps, enduring unimaginable suffering. In his seminal work, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl shares how he found resilience by recognizing that even in the worst situations, we have the profound freedom to dictate our inner lives and find meaning. Frankl observed that those who survived were often not the physically strongest, but those who maintained a sense of purpose. He wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way. To live a good life, we have the potential for it, if we can learn to be indifferent to what makes no difference." Marcus Aurelius' adversity is an inevitable part of the human experience. Whether through personal loss, professional setbacks, or broader societal upheaval, challenges come in many forms. The Stoic approach encourages us not to view these events as inherently negative, but as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. By embracing this perspective, we can transform our suffering into a source of strength and wisdom. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the pursuit of wisdom, reason, and virtues like courage, justice, temperance, and humility. The Stoics believed that living a virtuous life was the key to true happiness and resilience. Socrates, often considered a forerunner of Stoicism, embodied these principles throughout his life and death. Socrates faced execution by drinking poison, charged with impiety and corrupting the youth of Athens. Despite the gravity of his situation, he remained calm and composed, using his final moments to impart wisdom to his disciples. His equanimity in the face of death exemplifies the Stoic ideal of maintaining inner peace and virtue regardless of external circumstances. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Epictetus. By nurturing our inner garden of virtues, we develop formidable resilience. Virtue becomes our anchor, guiding our actions and decisions even in the harshest conditions. The pursuit of wisdom and self-improvement through Stoic practices allows us to build a strong moral foundation that supports us through life's challenges. People look for retreats for themselves, in the country, by the coast, or in the hills. There is nowhere that a person can find a more peaceful and trouble-free retreat than in their own mind. Marcus Aurelius. The Stoics emphasized the practice of stillness and tranquility as vital for lasting inner strength. In our frantic modern lives, we require the Stoic counterbalance of solitary stillness to renew our minds and deal with life's turbulence. René Descartes, during the 30 Years' War, took refuge in solitude to conceive his groundbreaking philosophical ideas. This period of intense reflection and stillness allowed him to develop a new framework for understanding the world. Similarly, in our lives, practicing stillness and tranquility helps us find clarity and strength amidst chaos. Through practices like contemplation, mindfulness, and journaling, we create vital pauses to reset our composure. These moments of stillness enable us to reconnect with our inner selves and cultivate resilience. Remember that you are a part of the whole, and be grateful for every opportunity to contribute to the greater good. Marcus Aurelius. While Stoicism is often portrayed as a philosophy of rugged individualism, it also emphasizes our interconnectedness and common humanity. By recognizing our place within the larger whole, we cultivate empathy, solidarity, and a sense of life's cosmic scale. Musonius Rufus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, welcomed all to join in philosophical exploration as equals, fostering communities bound by philosophy and virtue. This understanding provides strength, belonging, and the realization that we are part of something greater than ourselves. The Stoic principle of interconnectedness reminds us that we are not isolated individuals but part of a larger community. This perspective fosters empathy and compassion, helping us build stronger relationships and support networks. By contributing to the greater good, we find purpose and meaning in our actions. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. Steve Jobs. The Stoic practice of Memento Mori, remembering our mortality, serves as a powerful tool for resilience. By contemplating our finite existence, we gain perspective on what truly matters, prioritize our values, and live each day with purpose. The Roman general Maximus Decimus Meridius, in the movie Gladiator, embodies this principle as he faces his mortality with courage and resolve, knowing that his actions will echo in eternity. Memento Mori reminds us that life is fleeting, urging us to make the most of every moment. By embracing this perspective, we live with greater clarity, gratitude, and intentionality. This awareness helps us navigate life's challenges with resilience, knowing that our time is limited and precious. As we journey through life's trials and triumphs, the wisdom of Stoic philosophy offers invaluable guidance. By reframing our perspective, strengthening our inner selves, taking responsibility for what we can control, finding meaning in adversity, cultivating wisdom and virtue, practicing stillness, fostering interconnectedness, and embracing our mortality, we build lasting resilience and inner strength. The enduring teachings of Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus remind us that true resilience comes from within. By applying these principles, we navigate life's challenges with grace, wisdom, and unwavering strength. Stoicism offers us a timeless path to living a virtuous, resilient, and fulfilling life, empowering us to meet any challenge with equanimity and courage. Embrace Stoicism, and you will discover a path to true success that has stood the test of time.